Hello and welcome back to Rage Gaming and More Wilds. Today we're talking title update 2.5, aka the August update. In this we have a new set of high difficulty quests, the 9-star monsters, all with their own scaling difficulties from 3 to 5 star as well. So we're officially talking about the hardest hunts in the game being your 9 to 5s. Just like real life, it's hard to deal with. Today we're talking about all the things you want to know about in this update, the subtle and the bigger stuff. So let's get into it. Like the fact that in Title Update 3, we're actually going to have more 9-star monster hunts introduced in the form of event quests. Logically, this will include a 9-star version of whatever new monsters also come in TU updates, as they've stated directly in the director's letter. We can also assure you that any new monsters added in Title Update 3 will also feature 9-star difficulty quests. So, 9-star monsters introduced in the event quest must mean monsters other than Title Update new monsters. So, we might see Tier 1 and 2 monsters as 9-star versions at some point. If so, they might actually be the best targets to farm the new glowing stones, but we'll see when we get there. Now, as a really important note to know about this August update, the support hunters need a buff if they're going to compete with the 9-star hunts. They made it very clear that they're currently not actually balanced for those hunts, so I wouldn't advise you use them for those quests. The reason for this is that they brought forward the 9-star hunts outside of Title Update 3 to now in an effort to give those bigger and better endgame options immediately. But in doing that, other systems that would have come with Title Update 3 are still there in Title Update 3, but not here now. So support hunters aren't really balanced or strong enough for the 9-star hunts. Wouldn't recommend you use them until TU3. Let's talk about the 9-star hunts. You can just pull up the map and see if there's any on the map. As you can see, I've got 2 right here in Wyvria. Just as before, you can save them as investigations or immediately begin them as field surveys. So if you're looking to farm them as a maximum initially, then I would strongly recommend you do this. However, just saving them as investigations is not a problem. Just be wary that they're a bit more expensive than normal hunts. If I want to create an investigation for this tempered arkveld here, it's going to cost me 400 points. But take a look at this 9-star tempered raid owl. This is 600 points. It's a small thing, but it will stack up. And as we're spamming resting and trying to get a load of these initial investigations, you're going to note that this is going to cost a lot of points initially. But I do have good news around this, we'll mention in a moment. In terms of rewards and maximizing this though, it is a familiar system with the initial relics, but a bit better than our starting version, which just had 8-star arkveld as your only good option. This is a 9-star tempered raid owl. It also happens to be 5-star, your 9 to 5. The rewards means I can get 5 glowing stones for potential talismans, which is awesome, but these could be double boxes. Let's take a look at this tempered Seikret 9-star as well. As you can see, 2 of these 5 boxes actually have double rewards, which does mean I'm going to get 2 talismans per slot here. You can also get them in the form of great hunts, as you can see here. So that puts the max potential up to 10 boxes. And then each bonus reward box could have double rewards, so we could get up to 20 new talismans from one hunt. It just needs to be a great hunt. However, this is a very dangerous hunt in this case. A 5-star tempered Seikret, a 5-star tempered raid owl. At least one of these is also a 9-star. The easy method, anyway, is to just hover over each location so we can see all 3 of those are 9-star just by looking at the immediate glowing stones as reward. Whereas we look at Scarlet Forest here, we know immediately these are not a 9-star because none of the rewards are glowing stones. Otherwise, it's the same thing as before. If you don't have any or you want more, just go rest. It's going to cost you 500 guild points as a heads up, and then you see what's there. My feedback for this system that is unfortunately not here, but maybe will be here in Title Update 3, is a clearer system of seeing what a 9-star is. Right now, I can only tell based on the rewards, but what happens if I want to see what's coming up later in the environment overview? This tempered Mizu down here, that could be a 9-star tempered Mizu, right? But I have no idea, and I don't exactly have a way to find out unless I just sit here and wait. So some sort of icon for a 9-star on those images would go a long way, I think. Anyway, be aware that they've adjusted the appearance rate of monsters at Hunter rank 100 and higher, as well as the appearance rate of standard monsters has been slightly increased as well. This should be basically a subtle change in the monsters you see once you're Hunter rank 100 and above, and should make for an overall better experience finding the monsters at higher tiers that you actually want. In my experience hunting 9-stars, it took like roughly 5 rests, and check out how many I've already got saved. We're almost 4 pages of 9-stars that quickly, and it's a nice variety too, with good variance in the rewards. So it's not that bad at all, in my opinion. Next, let's talk about the new charm system, the new talismans. Just quickly, By doing these 9-star quests, you get glowing stones in different amounts. Now, like relics, they get identified after the hunt, so you find out whatever the RNG talisman was as soon as you look at it. This could have up to 3 skills on it, it would appear, of varying levels. This also includes offensive skills, as they've made very clear. This also includes decoration slots. There seems to be 3 slots potential, and you can see different rarity of these talismans, which also affects its point value, as we'll mention in a moment. From our limited testing so far, it looks like you're looking at rarity 8 talismans for the hopes of 3 ranks of an offensive or weapon skill on it, whereas rarity 7 or lower talismans seem to have more investment in the important armor skills like weakness exploit, agitator, that kind of thing. So a rarity 7 talisman actually could be fantastic for you if you get the right setup. It's definitely going to take a lot of testing to see whether rarity 7 with more of an armor focus is actually better than rarity 8, because our talismans currently give us levels of weakness exploit and agitator already, a higher amount, which is so impactful. But obviously we're very early into testing, so who's to say? So the most valuable thing you can be doing with your time is hunting these 9-star monsters, that's for sure, and getting yourself a nice stock and supply immediately. But there is something you can do to increase that stock generally and immediately in this first day. Coming to Suja as before, you've got the special melder here, and she has been updated, which you'll find after you get your first new talismans. Use the melding pot service and you got this new menu, Talisman Melding. You've got appraised talismans and use items. Appraised talismans is only one option right now, just like we thought it'd be with the Sunbreak system. Rebirth or reincarnate, you take talismans that you have right now based on points, and these generate talismans. So as you can see, I'm putting in different charms, and I'm generating 1 extra RNG talisman. There's also a grading system of some kind that clearly is on display here, because this talisman is only worth 1 point, this one's worth 3 points, and this one's worth 6 points. Increased amount of decorations and size, and the grade of what you have on the talisman for equipment skills clearly has an impact on the value. Either way, we're going to generate so many of these talismans that before long, I'm sure we'll be doing a lot of this. In regards to use items, this just means the ticket system. As you can see, they've introduced a new talisman ticket, which looks overly familiar to the old one, unfortunately, but it has a rarity increase, rarity 7. That is specifically the talisman tickets you need to do the talisman melds for the new talisman. As you can see, 1 silver talisman ticket will give you 10 glowing stones, so there's 10 RNG talismans, which could then be remade into more talismans, which is a great thing to do immediately. So it's time for us to talk about the updated bounties, which are a lot better now as a heads up. Let's take a look at them. As you can see, we have our weekly bounties and the different rewards. And here are some of those silver melding tickets. But again, these are rarity 6, so they're not high enough. The one you want is this one at the bottom, rarity 7, to get those 10 talismans. It also provides 2 pick-a-meal vouchers, which is amazing. All you have to do is 1 9-star hunt. So at a minimum, be doing this once a week. It's still worth it in general to do 7-star tempered hunts as well, and these 9 stars work for that. First, some Artian Reinforce, a heavy armor sphere, and another pick-a-meal voucher. These are the most important things to do. The rest, I wouldn't even worry about so much. But this is a lot more valuable too, because look at that, 1,000 guild points, 900 guild points for just doing those 2, which is essentially 3 9-star hunts. Not bad at all. But yeah, in this August update, they increased the amount of guild points you get from bounties, making them more valuable in general. Here's a fun detail about the Wounded Hollow, aka the arena. You're now going to see more monsters. Apex Predators are actually going to show up there now. Initially, they've called out Hunter rank 100 and higher, that's when that begins. We'll see Raid Out and new udra in the Wounded Hollow specifically. Others are coming in the future. Lagiacrus has been called out to be added, likely title update 3 in the arena, which would be the best place to hunt him because it doesn't move around at all, no underwater section, kind of awesome. But they also mentioned other additions, such as more hunts targeting packs of monsters. So does that mean packs in the arena? That'd be crazy. Or in general? I think it kind of sounds like in general. Pack hunts have been a point of feedback that it was like a cool feature of Wilds that they kind of underdid. So it'd be nice to see that change a bit in the future. Maybe title update 3. Another important detail is that at Hunter rank 100 and beyond, each region's Apex Predator is much more likely to appear with that region not actually currently being in inclemency or its storm. So we can literally see Tempered or Duna here, despite the fact that the forest is in the fallow. So you're going to be able to find your Apex Predators way more often, which is really nice too. And that will also help you find 9-star hunt versions, which is how I've been feeling about it anyway. Right, we do have a fantastic new feature with this update. Since they're aware that the 9-star hunts are going to be a lot longer, they want the general flow of the gameplay to be better. So currently I've got a meal lasting 16 minutes. Normally when you eat, they last 40 minutes. That has changed. As you can see when I'm looking at meals now, the effect duration is 70 minutes. Over 1 hour is how long these are going to last from now on. Portable barbecue, meal invitations, canteen meals, whatever. So the longer meals last even longer. Right, something I haven't actually done yet, but I think it's important to highlight, is the fact that you can now upgrade your armor again. So the point of this is previously, say this gore helm, max level was 9, now you can go up to 11. This is going to increase the straight defense of this piece. This will also cost a good amount of zenny as you're doing it for all of your armor sets, so be warned, don't do this without too much thought because you'll run out of money very quickly. But either way, it's going to give you more defense, which means you can tank more hits and actually survive, which is going to be really important for the 9-star. Here's a fun one you might have missed. They've adjusted the damage scaling during mounts to tone down the amount of damage reduction applied for non-mounted players. In English, that basically means when you're attacking a monster that's currently mounted, previously you would do a lot less damage, and while you still will do less damage than normal now, it's actually a lot better than it was. So yeah, attacking a monster while it's mounted is a lot more valuable now. Okay, next up, a fantastic quality of life update with the favorite feature. So take the equipment box here where I'm looking at talismans. We have add to favorites, which gives it a nice little gold star. Then if I want to actually find that, I can now sort by favorites first. So let me just find all of the talismans I care the most about. Now with those stars, I can sort by favorites first and immediately see my best talismans and all of their options. And this applies to a lot more than just your talismans. So take my weapon here. I absolutely do not want to accidentally delete this, so I can favorite it. This means I can sort by my weapons by favorites first, and there they are. But take these other ones that I also don't want to sell. And we're going to see that there is a new prompt to prevent me from selling it. So it's got decorations in it, which would prevent me. It's also registered as part of a loadout, which would prevent me. And now that I've registered it as a favorite, it's also giving me a block. I can still say yes and sell it. I'm going to be very careful here not to do that. But favoriting things also prevents you accidentally deleting or selling them, which is well worth the effort. So think about your weapons, your armor, your talismans, that kind of thing, and get favoriting. There's a new option for bowgunners. You can also now show and hide the ammo. So if you want to completely remove it from your list while you're going, you can do that, which is going to be a really nice way to clean up what you're actually seeing available as you're trying to swap ammos. You do this in the ammo pouch menu from transfer items. And this works for bows too, where you go into the coatings and just hide ones you never want to use so you don't have to flick through them. Here's a fun one. The underwater combat's had some updates for the lagiacrus hunt. Just a couple quick things. You can now chain into an evade from ascending or descending movement, just giving you more evasive movement immediately. You can also use items during ascending and descending movement, where previously you just sort of held in place, which was a bit weird. They've also made a fix for where you couldn't use items while in the focus mode in underwater, which is a weird one. So in general, the way that you move and what you're able to do while you're underwater is going to feel better. Right, bowgunners, there's something that a lot of people are pretty excited about, which has been a change to the ballistic skill. As it states, it extends the range in which the ammo and arrows have maximum power. In their words, the ballistic skill increases the effective range for normal, pierce, and spread ammo. And they've adjusted that with this update. So ballistics is going to feel a bit better in that way. But also, normal and spread ammo are going to be within their effective range even when you're point blank, meaning right up against the monster from level 2 and onwards. So having ballistics at level 2 and higher is going to be even more valuable and should be a very appreciated change. We also have a few changes for your Seikret in terms of quality of life. For example, as we actually get onto the mount, we can immediately open the map way faster, which is a nice little subtle update. And in general as well, turning and doing a 180 has been made better. It's something that, you know, I feel like a lot of people have been feeling awkward with the Seikret and its general movement. It is a lot smoother to just spin around like this, which, you know, is a good thing. But you could always press R2 or whatever it is on a keyboard and just do the little drift and do that fast 180 anyway. That's something I've always been doing and I've been mentioning since beta anyway. But I guess people just aren't using that much, and I'm not against making it smoother to use the Seikret in all movement in general. Also, apparently the dismount timing window after landing a successful evasion by the Seikret actually allows you to get off the mount faster. So if your Seikret dodges an attack, you're not stuck on the back of it for a little bit longer than you really should be. So another great change. Finally, just to mention on future updates that are coming that they've told us about. We're also implementing adjustments to improve gameplay convenience, such as preventing monsters from spontaneously destroying pop-up camps, and importantly, resetting the cooldown for mantles upon beginning a quest. So for me, that's the most important thing there. The moment you start any quest, all your mantles are going to get refreshed, which is something that I always felt should have been in the game anyway. They've also mentioned that performance changes and future performance improvements are coming, but they are taking it very seriously because guess what? It's really complicated. So for a CPU load reduction, they're planning to address this issue in the 4th title update scheduled for the winter, and then GPU load reduction in a similar manner after that. So they're doing initial, very careful implementation, and then they're going to go further once things are good. Part of this is, as they explain, making changes to CPU processing could affect the game's overall performance, so yeah, they're proceeding with caution. Game stability, optimization, function, it's a top priority for them, but it's not flicking a switch, and if they do it wrong, it'll backfire bad, as we saw with the May update and the weird shader loading while mid-playing. So we absolutely need it, but it also needs to be done right. Now, I'd be amiss if I didn't mention it at least in this video at some point, but obviously there's been a big weapon rebalance update here. More weapons than expected. They originally planned 5, they ended up doing 11. Most of it was upwards adjustments. A couple weapons got some small changes, but important ones, like special sheath countering for longsword, or my favorite change here, dual blades, where you can now choose to, instead of spin down the spine and end up away from the ideal hit location, stay at the head. Anything that's relevant and specific that we're going to talk about and get in depth on, we'll do in their own respective videos to do with the weapons, so look out for that. But yeah, there's my overview of a lot of stuff to do with the title update 2.5 update, the August update. Hope you're having fun. If you've got any extra advice, tips, or anything to add to these topics, let us know in the comments. But until next time, I've been Hollow, you've been you. Thanks for watching.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.